Elden Ring has got some of the most interesting starting locations that you can ever find in any game. One of which allows you to gain access to both Smithing Stones level 1 and level 2 so quickly early game with no armor. Like, all you need really is just a tiny little bit of skill and know-how. And this is that video. I'm going to show you how to do that. It takes about 15 minutes, somewhere around there. I'm going to try and speed up everything as quickly as possible so that I can safely and easily show you how this goes. Well, I want to show you this in a way that allows you to see the whole thing, the whole process from start to right where you actually get the access. And you can also get a few golden seeds along the way as well by doing this. Now, as a starting item, I like to choose the Lands Between Ruin. You don't have to do this. I recommend Golden Seed if I'm honest, because the Golden Seed is just, in my personal opinion, the easiest and the best pickup for early game starting items. So one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to go and get Torrent. We're going to need it because, trust me, there is no other way to do this. You want Torrent straight away, otherwise you are going to be in for a very, very long journey. And I do really mean a very long journey. This takes about 15 minutes just on Torrent alone, so yeah, it's a bit of a long journey, but I wanted to show you me doing this with no armor on, so that I can show you that this can be done with an early an early character straight away, dead easily, and then all you have to do after that point is just farm for your ruins to allow you to gain access to more of these stones. Now, in a few days or so, I'm going to be actually putting up a video on early game smithing stones, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on that one, because level 1, level 2, you can get about 12 of the smithing stones level 1 so quickly and so early on in this game. It's very simple and very straightforward. So let's continue on, let's keep going. Let me show you where we need to go. So one thing that you can do is you can skip the Limgrave Castle 100%. You don't even have to worry about it at all. You can skip right through it by doing exactly what I'm doing right here, right now. You can go all the way around this side path, and it will allow you to get to the second part or the second area of the map past the castle without having any issues whatsoever. And you can just go all the way through this without having to kill any enemies or anything like that. You can just use Torrent, and this is why I suggest Torrent straight at the start. It's quite a long journey, but there is a grace up here which allows you to rest there. If you actually rest at that grace, you can go straight to the round table. Once you get past the castle, you can immediately go to the round table just by resting at the grace, and you'll be able to just talk to Melena and be teleported there. So that's a really useful thing. But we're not going to do that. I highly recommend you also don't talk to the Miracle Lady at the shack earlier on. There's a reason why, and I'll show you that on the way back later on in the video. You can also go to the church that we just bypassed to talk to a sorcery gentleman as well, but I will talk about those in a separate video in a later date. Once you get the grace that's coming up, you just want to follow where I'm going. I'm not going to speed this up too quickly because I want you guys to be able to follow it pretty spot on, because this bit gets quite tricky, and understandably it can be quite confusing. You can pick up the map in this area here if you really want to, but you can get killed. Just be very careful because those guys can grab you and nearly one-shot you. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm actually going to do instead is I'm just going to hug this back wall that we're going to be getting to in just a second. And we're just going to keep hugging the wall consistently for at least a good 5 to 10 minutes. And you'll understand why I say 5 to 10 minutes. It does take a while to get up here. But along the way, you will also gain access to some smithing stones level 2. I think there's 3 of them. You'll also get a spirit summon, and you'll also get... I've forgotten what the other item is. You'll see it along the way anyway. And you'll know that you're getting close when you see one of the big stompy guys. I don't even know what you'd even call them. You've seen them in the trailers before. They're kind of like Shadow of the Colossus enemies. They're really weird. But you'll see them, and you'll know. You'll hear like a bell as well, and lots of stomping, and that will indicate that you're getting very close to where we need to go. Here is the summon, for those of you that are interested in that. And we also passed earlier the Lucky Foot, I believe it's called. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But they are used for increased item discovery, which is really useful. So if you're, in need of doing some farming with a particular monster, then you can use those as well. So keep following this path the way that I'm doing now. Keep hugging that right wall. I go a little bit left here just to get past the crystals. Don't worry too much about it. Jump over whatever's in your way. And just keep going. And we're very nearly at those Shadow of the Colossus enemies that I was speaking about moments ago. There he is over there in the distance. And I'll show you him properly just so you can get a feel for him. There he is. He's over there. Big dude. And as you can hear the bells in the distance as well. I get stuck here, which is kind of annoying. Okay, so now for the actual part of the video that, to be fair, is probably the hardest bit of the whole run, is actually going into the mine itself, running through the enemies. Now, you can, if you want to, do this area. There is a grace down here. I recommend getting used to doing these side bits down here the way that I'm doing this now, dropping down these side areas, as opposed to using the elevators, because we're going to need to do those. We're going to need to do this in order to stop getting killed by enemies in this area. It's something that I really recommend you do. So get used to that. You can rest at the grace if you'd like, but just touch it so that you've got it for future reference, and also so that if you do die in this area, then you can actually go back to that grace. There are some cracked crystals on the walls there. You can pick those up if you want. There is a lot of like level 2 to level 3 somber and also smithing stones in this area. So if you do want to grab those, you can do. I would, however, be very cautious in this area. There are mages in this area that can like nearly 2 or 3 shot you, and they are horrible. I tried to do a run of this a few attempts ago, and yeah, I got killed quite a few times by doing it. So just be very careful, and this is why I recommend doing this route, going down these side areas as opposed to using the elevators or lifts or whatever they're called, because quite honestly they are just a lot more safer. Okay, so this next area, you need to be very careful. There's a mage over the other side of this bridge thing here. Just be very careful. You want to make sure that you get away from him as soon as possible, because he will fire mage bullets at you, and they are not nice. You want to sort of strafe. When you get to about this point here, you want to strafe left and right, because they do fire arrows at you, those mannequin guys, so be careful with that too. But so long as you strafe left and right there, then you should be okay. And you just want to keep going forward. Just be very careful. Make sure you do that exact route that I just did there, because there is mages down in that bottom area. And once again, go down the left-hand side of the lift and drop down here, because they will follow you like last time, like I said. And we're very nearly at the boss now. Now, the boss is interesting, so we do obviously have to kill the boss in order to get what we're after. I'm skipping the stones and stuff on the sides. Don't worry about that too much. This guy isn't actually that difficult. You want to be making sure that you just lock onto him and run to the left or to the right of him. See those little things that he throws, those little frisbees? You can just run left or right, and you want to avoid it. Now, that move there that he just did, he threw his big frisbee forward. All you want to be doing is looking out for that move, and you can punish it with a back smack. And that's all you want to do. So see right there, you've got plenty of time as well. All you do is just keep doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now. In fact, this boss I find is so easy that I actually forgot my HUD was off, so I turned it on mid-fight just so that you guys could see the HUD. This guy's really not that hard. Just keep doing exactly what I'm doing. Now, the reason why why this is like ridiculous, like there's absolutely no damage I'm doing to this guy right now. You will see in just a second. The more you hit him, he has like an armor threshold. It's really weird. It's hard to explain, but after a certain amount of time, the armor will break, and you will be able to do stupid amounts of damage to him. But yeah, just keep doing the back smacks. I do an extra square off move as well. You don't have to do this. As soon as he's down on the ground like that, you can knock his armor off, and then now look at how much damage we're doing now. We're doing so much more damage than we were before, and you, like I said, you're just running left to right away from the guy as much as possible, and you're trying to bait that move. You're trying to bait that forward frisbee move, and then back smack him like this. And he's generally so easy. There's not many moves that he does, and the moves that he does do are particularly easy to escape from. And yeah, just as long as you're moving left and right with left or right with with your sprinting, so long as you're sprinting for the majority of this and keeping your stamina bar in a good position, you can very easily defeat this guy. He's really not too tricky. I'm not sure how this would go well. I don't know how this would work with sorcery builds or other builds like that, but for the most part, sorcery builds require somber stones anyway, and not smithing stones. This is mainly for a melee build anyway, because this is specifically for smithing stones. So once you've killed him, which we will do in just a second, he will drop one of the bell bearings that you can get, that you can give to a guy at the round table. Now, just quickly, before we continue, there is one more thing that I would like to do, and I would like to show you before we go back to the round table. So what I will do now is I will go back to Stormhill Shack. We rested at this earlier, which just makes this a lot easier to do. But the reason why I didn't speak to the NPC was because she actually drops an item, and it's an extra golden seed, which is something that, for some strange reason, you wouldn't normally get if you spoke to her. It's just really weird. Now, don't worry, you won't miss out on her jellyfish summon, because if you actually continue her quest line, she will give you the jellyfish anyway. So you basically just get a free golden seed for no reason whatsoever. Right, so you just rest at this grace now. It doesn't matter what grace it is really now at this point, so long as you've gone past the halfway line, past the castle, you can rest at any grace, and she will allow you to teleport to the round table. Once teleported to the round table, you go to the left door here and follow until we get to the two-headed trader, and offer a bell bearing, and offer the bell bearing that we got from the boss. We now have access to smithing stones level 1 and smithing stones level 2, infinite amounts of them as well. All they need is, they just need ruins in order to be bought. That's literally it. That's the only catch. So now you can upgrade as many level 1 and level 2 weapons as you want. And one thing that's also really useful is that Spirit Calling Bell and also the spirit for the Wolves spirit that you get normally from Rani, at the start of the game, is inside this shop, so that if you do miss Rani's sort of conversation at the start next to Kale, then you can have that too. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope that really helped. Take care.